What is going on, guys? What is up? I hope your day is going great. This is my channel, Houseplant Therapy. My name is Chris, and if you consider houseplants a therapeutic way of living, chances are we're gonna get along quite well. I love coming home to my house and just being like, man, I live here, like this is my little zen. I have a little bit of anxiety, it just really helps me. But guys, in today's video, I wanna go through and help you learn how to take care of the ZZ plant. The ZZ plant is super easy to take care of. This is a beautiful, beautiful plant. I'm gonna show you how to take care of this plant in 4 easy steps. I have an in-depth care guide on this, but I just rambled and rambled and rambled. In this video, I wanna do 4 easy steps, keep this short and easy, so you can go on your merry way of houseplant keeping. Let's get into it. So the number one most important variable when it comes to taking care of the ZZ plant is lighting. This plant is a lot of times sold or marketed as a low lighting plant, but that's completely wrong. I don't care what anyone tells you. Don't get me wrong, this plant is one of the most resilient, hard to kill houseplants in the hobby, but that's not saying that it doesn't prefer some decent lighting. On average, this plant prefers like 5 to 8 hours of medium to high indirect lighting every single day. And what happens is, you can tell by the color differences here, this lighter green, it's brighter, this is new growth. You can tell when the plant is thriving because it's constantly, it's growing new shoots of foliage, and the plant prefers that. So when you bring the ZZ plant home, try to find a place in your homestead where this plant can get medium to indirect lighting. A lot of times this plant is super resilient and it will stay alive, but just try to give it a place near a window, maybe like within 5 to 8 feet of a window, or consider giving it a grow light. They have little grow lights. I'll throw some links in the description box. These grow lights work perfect for plants if you don't have like a window near the plant. The second most important variable when it comes to taking care of the ZZ plant is watering schedule and just watering in general. This plant absolutely hates to be overwatered. So let's talk about this. On average, we water our ZZ plant probably once a month. And here's the caveat. What's the indicator is going to be how much sunlight this thing gets, because obviously if it's getting more lighting, the soil is going to dry out a lot faster. And it's going to be different, like say, if you live in Florida versus if you live in Minnesota like us, because our lighting is super weak here, especially in the winter. And you might water this plant once a week if you live in Florida, or once a month if you live in Minnesota like us. I will warn you guys though, this plant, the ZZ plant, hates to be overwatered. What happens is, if it doesn't get enough sunlight and you water it too often, this plant is going to die. A lot of times what happens is an entire shoot of leaves start to turn yellow, and that's how you know it's been overwatered, so be very careful and tread lightly. This plant, it has really fleshy, thick stems and really like thick leaves, and that's because the plant holds on to water really well, and it likes to be dried out completely in between watering. So don't micro water it. Don't water it like once every 4 days or once a week. Water it like thoroughly douse the plant and then let it dry out in between waterings. The third variable when it comes to taking care of this plant is the soil mixture and drainage. It's a huge deal for this plant to have proper draining soil. A lot of times what people do is they will mix up like half potting soil and mix it with half cactus mix. Just because this plant hates to be sitting in water, the roots will rot super, super quick. And you gotta be careful, because what happens is you water it and the water sits in the bottom like 3 inches and the roots absolutely hate it. So you have to be very careful. That being said though, guys, the ZZ plant doesn't like to be repotted very often. So if you gotta change the soil mix, it kind of sucks, but you may just have to change out the mix in itself without a repot, because these roots like to be super root bound. You'll know when you need a repot because the roots will get so crazy that they'll actually like start to change the form of the pot because they're super thick and they're strong. And also, you'll know if you need a repot because the plant will just absolutely stop growing. You'll notice that you're getting no new growth, like this bright green stuff, that's the new growth. And you'll notice because the height is stagnant. These things grow between like 2 to 4 feet. You'll know because the plant will absolutely just stop growing whatsoever. The fourth and last most important variable, guys, is to just forget about this plant and neglect it. I know that sounds pretty bad, honestly though. What you need to do is start collecting other house plants and sort of just let the ZZ plant do its thing, because just literally put it in a spot, water it once a month, on average, you know, figure that watering schedule out, and this plant is going to do well. Look at the leaves. You know, the leaves will tell you if they start to wrinkle, chances are they could use some more water. Look at the new growth. Do you have bright new shoots of new growth? If so, the plant's doing well. And just make sure that those variables are working for you. Neglect it and everything will work out fine. It's almost like a lot of succulents. You literally have to buy them and then forget about the plant, and you'll come back 6 months later and be like, oh yeah, I'm taking care of this plant quite well. God, look at the sheer beauty of these leaves. Like the sheen on these, like, it's crazy. Like the glossiness of it. Everybody needs a ZZ plant in their house. I don't care how bougie you think you are. These things are so beautiful. Well, guys, I think that about wraps up the pure basics on how to take care of the ZZ plant. It's super easy. Literally, lighting, make sure that the plant is getting adequate amounts of lighting, and don't overwater the thing. It's literally that simple. I promise you're not gonna have any issues as long as you don't overwater this plant. Promise me you won't do that. Guys, hit me up in the comment section. That's why I do these videos. I love making more houseplant friends. If you guys like aquariums as well, I have a channel that just hit 60,000 subscribers on fish tanks too. It's Palmer Aquatics. That's the name of it. If you're wondering, I don't know, I sort of geek out with all this naturey stuff, so consider subscribing to this channel, Houseplant Therapy. I love you guys. Let me know in the comment section, did you guys come here researching the ZZ plant? Are you thinking about buying one? Did you bring one home on accident? Did you do it? You can be honest. Yeah, ZZ Plant Care,